We're going to talk about real estate a little bit. I really want to talk to you about preparation and things maybe that you need to be aware of. That the big thing that I think that everybody needs to keep in mind is liquidity. Having access to capital is probably the most important thing you can do for yourself right now. So I think that with the government putting out these new programs, if you're self-employed, if you work for a company and you've been laid off or whatever it is, you're not working, to take advantage of all the programs they're offering. I think this is very, very important. I think you need to do that. I think that getting access to additional capital. There's a lot of offers. I got 2 offers last week for, balance transfers, access to capital. I think those are options. I think that, anything you can do to make capital available is something that you want to do in preparation when the market opens up again to transactions. Also, I mentioned last week that wholesale, I believe, is the safest type of investing you can do to avoid taking possession of property. Someone sent me an email. I sent them back. I didn't hear from them. Someone sent me an email about an option contract. Wholesale contract. Anybody on the call send me an email about a wholesale contract? No? Okay. Because I don't know if I didn't hear back from them, so I was wondering, and I can't seem to find the original email they sent me in my Outlook. So anyways, I wanted to make sure if you need anything, you can reach out to me. Just a reminder, what makes a wholesale contract is the conditions that you have in the contract. You need to have the assignment clause in the contract to make that work. We'd like that assignment clause in all our contracts. I assume everybody's got the conditions, terms and conditions. Everybody's got that, yes? Terms and conditions for the contract. Okay. And that's really all we need right now in the sense of doing wholesale, is to ensure that we have those proper conditions, specifically that assignment condition. You still want the other conditions in there, obviously, inspection and insurability and financing. All those clauses need to be in there. There was, and I shared this with the stock group. Yeah, there's a video that I think is worth watching that it maybe can explain to everybody a little bit about what's going on in the economy. It explains how the relationship of credit. Sure, Nadia. Let me see. Hold on one sec. Double check this.
How the economic machine works in 30 minutes. The economy works like a simple machine, but many people don't.
Hold on. So, when you get a chance, check out this video. I think it'll give you an understanding of what the governments are doing right now because of the situation. It's a good explanation of the relationship of debt cycles, credit, and what they talk. It's an American video, so they talk about the Federal Reserve, but it's the same thing for Bank of Canada. What the government's doing right now, because the economy's, it's just basically halted. This would be the approach, some of the approaches that they take to try to stimulate the economy. It's a great video. It's only 30 minutes long. It's really, I thought it was a good video to give you an understanding of, why the government's doing what they're doing. Obviously, the money that the government's putting into the system is our money, right? It's our tax dollars. All the things you pay into, sales tax, property tax, every tax that you can imagine, that goes to the government. This is money coming back, or being injected into the economy. At some point, this money needs to be paid back. That's going to be a problem to deal with down the road. Right now, I hope that everybody's, practicing, you know, social distancing, staying at home, not, taking care of yourself. Obviously, going to the hospital if you have symptoms of this virus. But ultimately, at home, I think you can take advantage of watching the videos and learning. Still, you can analyze properties, but in the way of moving forward properties right now, I think that wholesaling would be the way you go. There might be some additional, incentives, programs for real estate to jumpstart real estate. We might see banks do things and the government do things. I can't say what they're going to do, but ultimately we want to be prepared to do that. That's why liquidity and being liquid and access to capital is the most important thing that you can do for sure. So take advantage of all these programs if they apply to you. Um, do what you can to expand any available capital that you have, and then when the properties do come on the market, uh, we should see, it'll take some months. We should see probably a drop on prices. That'll depend on how this plays out and when we're actually how long it takes. The government's trying to ensure that there isn't a. They're trying to stop the housing market, as an example, one market, the housing market from unloading all the properties because they have to sell. They don't want bankruptcies. They don't want people going into foreclosure. So they're going to do everything they can to try to make the curve on the market, on the real estate market, go sideways. So what they want is they want the line, the line was going like this. They want it to just go like this. Okay. So we know, that the average is, here. They like it to go straight. We're probably going to see some pressure on that for inventory. We might see a drop. What we're hoping for is to take advantage of this drop if and when it happens, and that's where we're going to do some buy and hold for sure for cash flow. And we can do. There will be opportunity because this should be relatively quick and back up with the programs. We don't know how long that's going to take, but then there'll be definitely some flipping going on, opportunity because there'll be an inventory shortage when it reverses. Okay, so definitely want to take advantage of the market when it reopens up and full blast. It'll be hard to say though what the government's going to do in the way of helping out the real estate market more specifically as a market. I'm sure there's more to come. I'm sure there's more money that's going to be injected into the economy. It appears because the length of time this is going to take. So I mean, and it might take this line might take 2 years, up to 2 years to come back. We don't know. It's really challenging to know and predict the future with this kind of circumstance because it's so new and different than anything that the world economies have experienced. But one thing that's been different this time is the government's jumped in relatively quickly and started infusing money into the economy. So, they're hoping that the money comes to us, we spend, we continue to spend, and the markets go up. Real estate market, stock market, all that stuff. How much decrease in price do you expect when the inventory will be in the market? Like 20% off compared to before the crisis? That's so hard to say, Frank. I think a lot of people are not going to want to sell. People who don't need to sell might not sell to try to, hold back because they'll be told, maybe you want to wait it out. Some people will have to sell. I don't think they're going to stop everybody, completely from not going into, financial distress in this situation. It's so hard to say. The dilemma that we have, folks, is if the government's saying, nobody has to worry about rent for the next, let's say they say, because this takes longer, nobody has to worry about rent for a year, or 6 months. I think it's 6 months now. Is that correct? They're deferring the mortgages for 6 months. So all of that, holds off the market, right? So people you don't really want to be a buyer of a property where there's no rent. Now, if you know the government's going to pay the rent, if you know the government, is going to pay the rent for those properties, that's going to change the complexion, right? Because that's guaranteed money. So you basically have zero vacancy for 6 months. Does that make sense to everybody? That would have an impact on the market where we would say, okay, we can now look at those properties as potential opportunities for rentals. Unless we have some sort of guarantee, though, to the landlords, and I don't know if there's any legislation. Has any legislation anybody seen come out for landlords? I don't know exactly. Other than the mortgage situation, I think that's going to have to be dealt with too. Not paying your mortgage if you have a rental property because you have no income coming in because the rents aren't there. So I think that some of that stuff has to be dealt with, yeah, I think you're right, Diana. I think it's only homeowners, but at some point they need to. Uh, Eviction is on hold. Yeah. So at some point they're going to need to address that because, um, that will be severe to the market if they don't help the landlords with the rent, and they're expected to pay their mortgage. That's going to be a serious blow to the market, and we could see a drop, a huge drop, Frank, a huge drop. So it's really about, are the people investing going to be taken care of? Um, I believe they will do something because I don't think they can afford to let the market go down like that and investing go down. But I don't know what that is or how strong it'll be or how large it'll be. But definitely don't want to get into a property where you're not guaranteed, at least the potential for rent. I mean, if there's nothing there, you're guaranteed not to get rent. Why would you buy a rental property that has no income? It has tenants in it. So we'll have to see what happens. Well, the idea is since eviction is on hold and renters cannot pay, well, for the landlords, the bank has to give them 6 months break. So if they don't get the money from their renters, they don't have to pay the bank either. Yeah, Frank, I don't know, and maybe I missed it. I don't know if that's for renters. I know it was for homeowners. Frank, are you saying there was something said for which makes sense to me? There should be for investors. Is that right, Frank? Did you read that somewhere? It wouldn't shock me if there was something to that. I mean, it's shocking that there isn't something out there. Yes, for 6 months break for homeowners, but I'm talking about investors, renters, for landlords. Did they say anything? Did anybody read anything about landlords? I know a lot of stuff's coming out every day. Okay. So if somebody gets that, share it with the group for sure. Um, you can do that obviously on our next call. I also talked about going 2 times a week. We're not going to do that next week. Maybe the following week. I have another group that I have from the U.S. that I also have to take care of this week, and we'll see if we can put them in with the group next week. So it won't be next week. We'll go with the same date and time, and we'll go from there. Does anybody have a deal or anything they wanted to discuss? I just want to again remind everybody, do what you're supposed to do, and make sure you get liquid. When I say liquid, everybody knows what I mean, right? Does anybody not know what I mean when I say be liquid? Okay, good, good. Be liquid. Access to cash, access to credit, access, yes, it is a good time to. Well, is it a good time to do wholesale? I don't know if it's a good time for anything in real estate at this point because we're kind of in a what's the word? We're stuck in a what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? When you're suspended, limbo. There you go. When you're stuck in limbo, you can't. There's nothing really going on. Would you sell your home and rent for now? I would say that would be a difficult thing because I don't think you're gonna get what you want for your house. Now, if your market is still hot and you think you can get a better price, yeah, I mean, why not? But I don't know if you're going to get, I don't know how many people are doing it. I think it's actually been banned in some places where you can't even, they don't even want that happening. Showing houses and open houses and stuff. I think that's not something that anybody wants to do now. So I don't know and I don't know if it is where you are. Maybe it is. No, all closed. Yeah. So I mean, this is it. I mean, all open houses are closed. There's no traffic. I don't think it's time to be a seller or a buyer. GTA is hot still, but I will wait. GTA is hot still, but they will close in 2 to 3 months. Is the question. We'll see. But still selling very low inventory. So just a question, you have to consider is if somebody's working and they got a mortgage, and they don't get to go back to work, that might be a problem. I don't know what they're going to do for that. I'm at the outskirts of GTA. Okay. Well, I think again, right? We run the numbers on every property, right? It doesn't matter what it is or when it is. We're going to run the numbers of the property. But we have to recognize if it's an income property, that the income is going to come in, right? That you're going to get income. I don't think you want to be holding the property that there's no income, right? So we're going to have to see what happens. I don't imagine that every company is going to hire everyone back. I can't see that happening. The economy is going to be, hit hard with this. I can't imagine every company is just going to keep everybody working. So there's going to be casualties, and maybe that's not the best word because we're dealing with this virus, but there's going to be people that don't have jobs to come back to. That's going to happen. At least that's what I see. I don't want to understand how that's not gonna. There's gonna be some people that don't go to work because some companies are gonna have to downsize because they need to. This is gonna shock the system. They need to take care of themselves. So this money coming from the government, very much in the U.S. they're doing it. They're trying to get the money to the people. They don't want anybody to lose their job. They're hoping these companies, keep everybody employed. I don't know if that's a reasonable assumption moving forward because we don't know what's going to happen. Where I live, I'm in Ontario. They're talking about the schools being closed for longer than 2 weeks, 2 more weeks. I don't know what it's like wherever everybody else is. I don't know. Quebec's been hit pretty hard with this too. In Alberta, we are closed until September. Wow, they announced that, did they? Wow. So no school until September. So then I would believe the rest of the country is going to do the same thing. Wow. Is anybody else like that? Close till September? Oh, they follow the classes online. I see. But the schools themselves will be closed. Well, that's going to be wow. Ontario here too. And Colorado schools are open till April 20th. Really? Wow. We'll open up in April 20. I don't know. For now, teachers have the choice to work from home or from school. Really? Wow. Okay. This is interesting. But no students at school. So that's another problem, right? That's another problem. So if the kids are home at school, that's going to create an impact for people and childcare, right? That's going to be a huge impact for childcare, especially if they're minors. That's a serious problem. That could be a serious problem. So I think that the programs and all the money that they're putting into the system is not over. I'm sure there'll be more. I wonder what the industries that affected the least would be interesting to know. Well, I think companies that benefited, a lot of the technology companies benefited. So one of the companies we talked about last week and the weeks before was Zoom, because it's a video conferencing company, is doing well in the market right now. Amazon has progressed, even though the market's gone down. it went down too severely, but it's recovered quite a bit. Netflix is up overall. It had 2 days in a row where it went down, the last two trading days. So there are companies, medical companies have been seeing some opportunity. So think of the companies that are going to marijuana actually has starting to see a pop. So any companies that are dealing with that are considered essential um, are gonna benefit. So in places marijuana is considered essential. Uh, home repair, so Home Depot, food, Costco, Walmart. Um, what else? What else? Medical would be essential. Any production of that. So companies that are going to benefit from it. One set of companies that are going to benefit from this environment is people that facilitate things that you can do at home, right? So video game companies are going to do well. EA Sports, they've had a good run, um, while the rest of the market's been really suffering. Microsoft has gone down, but it's starting to recover because of its benefits. It has a video conferencing and has video games, right? Xbox. So, you know, it's really what you think, how long you think we're going to stay, as how long the benefit is, because a lot of these companies that have benefited from this, um, that benefit or that extra market that they're creating, it won't necessarily be there after this is over. But the world's going to change, I think, for everyone after this. So we'll see what happens. This is unprecedented. I'm wondering the impact this will have on the behavior of economy in the future. So whenever we hear there's a virus somewhere, we shut down everything. I think that the Canadian government and the U.S. government especially were very apprehensive and slow to move on closing everything. Actually, this has been in the news. I watch because I trade. I watch Asian Asian CNN and European CNN, and I knew about what was going on in China, and watching it. It was unbelievable months ago, and the rest of the world just sat and watched. And yesterday, they were saying in Europe, the UK believes, a study came out, the UK believes that 50% of the people have the virus in the UK. Now that's, like 60 million people plus maybe in the UK. They're talking about half of them possibly having this virus already. It's been there longer than they think. Um, India shut down. So India, some of these countries are going to manage better than others. Spain is getting crushed. I'm really worried about the countries that are impoverished, poor countries, that don't have a lot of resource. There's a lot out there. I don't mean to be a downer or put anybody off, but this is extremely serious. China is actually doing well. Their market has recovered a lot, but this is not a true indication, I think, of what's going on. China's basically saying everybody that has it now that they're finding is from out of the country, which tells you something. And hopefully the data is accurate, that they've got it under control. And and B, what's going to happen when borders open up? What's going to happen? How comfortable are we going to be to open our borders again when we're just getting this under control, right? Because I think that for a while, every time you get on a plane or you cross a border, you might get your temperature checked, and there might be some quarantine time. It's very, very difficult to say. So that I do think there's going to be a change. I really do think there's going to be a cultural change or a practice change at least for most every country. This is extremely expensive and disastrous for an economy. Not only is the economy frozen, someone on one of the guys on CNN said it was put into a coma. It's the cost, the social cost is huge. Yeah, exactly, and that might take years to get everybody vaccinated. So it's very, very difficult to say, folks, what's going to happen. Again, the best thing we can do as investors is be liquid. can't say that enough. I really can't. I know I've said it several times. Be liquid. You know, if there's any opportunity to find capital or access capital, be liquid. If there's people that you know that want to get in the market or invest, set that stuff up now. So raising capital while this downtime is happening, I think is important. I think that they're gonna open up RSPs and without penalties and stuff. I'm sure that's coming. If it hasn't, if they haven't mentioned it already, you'll be able to. They don't want people to deplete their savings, but that's if people need money, I think they're gonna make it with no penalties, as an option to have people so they can fund this situation. I think there's more to come. Yeah, they might increase the limits. I think increasing the limits is secondary to accessing it right now, because increasing the limits would benefit people with money. I think they're looking at people who don't have money or don't have access to money. So I think that they're more likely to maybe do that next year or the following year to get more money back in the system. But I think that right now it'll be about how can I get my money in my RSP without getting crushed with taxes. I think that they're gonna be on top of that too. So it's very, very difficult to say, folks. All I can tell you is stick to preparation. Stick to preparation of access to capital. That being said, I mean, I would love it if everybody was watching. Since everybody's home, I assume most of you are home. Watch an hour of on demand, 1 or 2 hours of on demand a day. Keep learning, keep reading, keep getting educated. And when the time is right, we'll jump into the market, both feet in. But until then, I don't want you to necessarily sit idle. I'd rather you stay active in something with that. Watch what? Well, I think that watching the on-demand, any on-demand that you have access to right now, you can watch. So I think that wholesale would be a good one. If you got access to that, throw up wholesale. I might talk to our office and ask them if they can let everybody see wholesale, the on-demand. Maybe get that available. I don't know. We'll see what we can do. We are definitely heading to a recession. I would say that's pretty much a lock. There's going to be a recession, technically. So Nadia, before I forget, can you send me an email and I'll send you those clauses, okay? I think that that's unstoppable. The recession is unstoppable. How long we last in that recession is going to be hard to say, But technically, we'll be in a recession for sure because the first, these next 2 quarters are going to be negative. There's going to be negative growth, so that puts us into a recession. So, any other questions before we wrap up? I know we're not doing any deals right now. If you have anything you want me to look at, obviously I'm going to look at. I want to keep talking about how to get prepared for this. I think the new approach tools for pandemic will be a new market and new industry causes the world, because the world has experienced it the first global pandemic and won't be the last if it happens again. I hope we are better prepared for the next one. That's for sure, Michael. That's no question. No question. Okay. Any other questions? I see some people typing. I'm going to give you another minute or so. My pleasure. Okay. I think maybe people are starting to type and not typing. Oh, okay. Do you have any tips for improving your credit score in this situation? I would say that without question, paying your bills on time. That's the best thing you can do. Pay your bills on time. That's as long the more you maintain that, that's going to help your credit. Huge. So I know it's not huge advice, but it's true. Just pay them on time. Stay on top of that. What are your thoughts on how printing the money will affect the economy? Inflation is what it's going to do, Diane. We're going to see inflation rise. There's no question this money they're putting into the system is paper. It's not really based on assets. This is why that video, I think the video that I hope everybody got that link to that video. Does everybody got the link to video? Everybody have it? Watch that video. It's really, really worth watching. I'm going to post it again. Watch the video. Okay? It's really, really good video. Give you a better idea of why, you know, what strategies the economy, what strategies the governments and the Canadian Bank or Federal Reserve use to deal with this situation because the economy needs it. So I thought it was a good video to share with you. Okay? All right, everybody, if you're good, type in yes or Y. Would you be able to send me a wholesale contract? I emailed you too. There, that's what yeah, send me that email again. I sent you something back. I didn't hear back from you. So send me an email, please, about the wholesale. I'll send you the conditions you need, okay? I did send you an email. I couldn't find your email and I didn't hear back from you. So can you send me another one? Yeah, great, excellent. Okay. Stay safe, everybody. Great, good point. And I will see everybody next Wednesday, same time, 9 o'clock, and hopefully we'll run to 2 meetings after that, okay? Thanks. Please see what you can do for opening up the demand. Yeah. I'll see if I can do that. I'll reach out. No worries. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of the week. Be safe. Practice all the things you're supposed to. Be safe. And if you need anything, you know how to reach me.